You know, when we talk electric vehicles, there are a few names that always come to mind, but today's deep dive is on a company that has been quietly changing the game.
Yeah,
We're diving into the world of BYD,
right.
a Chinese company that's not just making waves, they're practically making tsunamis in the electric vehicle market.
Yeah,
You sent over some really interesting Wikipedia articles on BYD.
I did.
And let me tell you, this isn't just another car company story.
Not at all.
Pretty.
What's fascinating about BYD is how they are really rewriting the rule book.
Okay.
They didn't start with 100 years of gasoline engine history behind them. They came from a totally different place.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, that outsider perspective might be their biggest strength.
Okay, so let's talk about this different place. The articles mention BYD being vertically integrated. What does that even mean in the context of making cars?
So imagine a company that essentially builds everything in-house.
Okay.
That's BYD.
Wow.
They don't just assemble cars. They manufacture their own batteries, the electric motors, even some of the computer chips.
Oh, wow.
They're even getting into lithium mining, which, if you know anything about EV batteries, is a big deal.
Right.
This vertical integration gives them incredible control over their supply chain.
So while other companies are scrambling for parts,
Yeah.
BYD is sitting pretty.
Exactly. And this is particularly huge in a market that is as unpredictable as the one that we're seeing right now.
Mm-hmm.
BYD can adapt to changes in demand or material costs far more smoothly than traditional car manufacturers. It also means that they've been able to become incredibly competitive on price, which, let's face it, is a major deciding factor for most people when they're buying a car.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that are a big deal, let's talk about BYD's Blade battery.
Okay.
I mean, the name alone sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It does, yeah.
What makes this battery technology so special?
The Blade battery is actually a brilliant piece of engineering.
Okay.
It uses lithium iron phosphate technology, which is considered much safer than the lithium-ion batteries you find in most electric vehicles.
Right.
There are all these videos online of nail penetration tests.
Right.
The Blade battery barely reacts, while other batteries basically explode on impact.
Wow.
This is a massive selling point for consumers concerned about safety.
Yeah, that makes sense. Safety is a big deal, especially with new technology.
Absolutely.
But what about the performance?
Yeah.
Does this focus on safety mean sacrificing things like range?
Not at all.
Yeah.
In fact, the design of the Blade battery is another advantage.
Okay.
Its unique structure means BYD can pack more cells into the same amount of space, directly translating to a longer driving range.
Interesting.
This technology is so good that there are whispers that even Tesla is considering using BYD's Blade batteries in some of their vehicles.
Wow, that's quite an endorsement, even if it's just a rumor.
Yeah.
But not everyone is ready to go fully electric just yet. So how is BYD approaching that segment of the market?
That's where their DMI system comes in.
Okay.
DMI stands for Dual Mode Intelligent, and it's their take on a hybrid system.
Okay.
But this isn't your typical hybrid. The DMI is designed to run predominantly on electric power.
So the gasoline engine is really just there as backup.
Exactly.
Okay.
Think of it as a range extender,
Mm-hmm.
a safety net for those longer trips.
Right.
It's a very clever way to address range anxiety
Sure.
while still giving consumers the familiarity of a gasoline engine.
Right.
And it's been a game changer for them, especially in China, where their DMI models have been flying off the shelves.
It sounds like they've really tapped into something there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got this vertically integrated business model,
Right.
cutting-edge battery tech, a hybrid system that's winning over consumers. What's next for BYD? World domination.
Well, their ambitions certainly seem to point in that direction.
Okay.
They're no longer content with just the Chinese market. They're actively setting their sights on global expansion, aiming to go head-to-head with some of the biggest names in the automotive world.
Well, that's no easy feat. Breaking into the global market, even with amazing technology, comes with its own unique set of challenges.
It does.
What are some of the hurdles they're facing?
Well, for one, they're a Chinese company trying to make it in a global market that, let's face it, is still largely dominated by established brands, many of which have a century of history behind them.
Right.
Building brand recognition and trust takes time, especially in a market as competitive as this one.
And it's not just about brand recognition, right? There's also the geopolitical landscape to consider.
Absolutely.
We hear a lot about trade wars, tariffs, and general suspicion toward Chinese companies, particularly in tech-related industries.
You're absolutely right. The geopolitical situation adds a whole other layer of complexity to BYD's global ambitions,
Hmm.
and it's already led to some challenges. For example, the European Union recently launched an anti-subsidy investigation into Chinese EV makers, including BYD,
Mm.
claiming unfair competition due to state support.
Right.
In the U.S., BYD's CEO has even indicated they are pumping the brakes on their plans to sell passenger cars there for now,
Wow.
citing these political barriers as the main reason.
Wow. So navigating the global market is like walking a tightrope, it seems.
Yeah.
But even with these obstacles, BYD has managed to hit some pretty major milestones, haven't they?
They have,
They
absolutely.
have, absolutely.
In 2023, they actually managed to outsell every other car brand in China,
Wow.
including Volkswagen, which had been the reigning champion for decades.
Really?
It was a short-lived victory,
Mm-hmm.
with Volkswagen reclaiming the top spot in early 2024, but still a huge accomplishment for BYD.
Yeah.
It really demonstrates their potential and how quickly the landscape of the global automotive industry is shifting.
That's a real David and Goliath story, at least for a little while.
Yeah.
But the articles you sent also mentioned some controversies surrounding BYD.
Right.
Not just external pressures, but internal issues, too.
Yes, like any company, BYD isn't without its critics.
Sure.
There have been questions raised about their quality control,
Mm-hmm.
environmental practices, and even some of their marketing strategies.
For instance, the articles mentioned some early issues with their electric buses in California.
Mm.
Apparently, there were some problems with reliability and range, which isn't exactly the best look when you are trying to convince public transportation systems to get on board.
Right, and there have also been concerns raised about pollution coming from some of their factories in China.
Mm-hmm.
Incidents like these lead some to question BYD's commitment to sustainability, which is something many EV buyers are particularly conscious of.
And then there's the whole logo situation.
Yeah.
Did you know BYD's original logo was incredibly similar to BMW's?
Yeah, I did see that.
It definitely caused some head scratching, to say the least.
It did, yeah, they did eventually redesign it,
Okay.
but it was definitely a misstep for a company trying to forge its own identity on the world stage.
Sure.
And it highlights how important it is to be culturally sensitive when expanding globally. Which brings us to their slogan, Build Your Dreams.
Right, build your dreams.
Yeah,
Catchy, but I can see how it might not translate well across different cultures.
exactly. It came across as a little cheesy to some,
Yeah.
and ultimately led to them removing the slogan from their cars.
Interesting.
Even more recently, there was that controversy in Thailand, where some aggressive price cuts left customers feeling misled.
Oh, really?
It seems BYD is still figuring out how to balance competitive pricing with maintaining a positive brand image in new and diverse markets.
It sounds like they have a lot on their plate.
They do.
So where do they go from here?
Well,
What's next for BYD in this quest for global domination?
they certainly haven't been shy about their ambitions.
Right.
They're
Well,
aiming for massive sales targets, both domestically and internationally.
Hmm.
And to support that, they're building factories outside of China, significantly expanding their global production capacity.
wow.
They're even building their own ships to transport their cars.
Now that's commitment.
Yeah.
Building their own fleet. Talk about vertical integration.
Right.
It sounds like they are really serious about becoming a major player in the global auto industry.
They are, and that move towards controlling their own logistics is another example of how that vertical integration strategy can give them a competitive edge.
Right.
But it's not just about cars for BYD, is it?
Right.
They've got their fingers in a lot of pies, so to speak.
They're also a big player in the electric bus market. Actually, the top electric bus manufacturer in North America.
Yep, they are.
Cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco are already using their buses. And it doesn't stop there. They're also producing electric trucks and even things like monorail systems.
It's true. They're aiming to electrify all aspects of transportation, which is incredibly ambitious. It's clear they're placing a big bet on the future of electric mobility. And that vertically integrated model allows them to be nimble,
Right.
to adapt to different markets and transportation needs.
And it all goes back to that old Holden Commodore we talked about earlier.
Right.
The one that BYD's founder converted into a hybrid.
Yeah.
It's a fun anecdote, but it also speaks to their long-standing interest in pushing the boundaries of electric transportation.
Absolutely. It's a testament to the vision of their founder, Wen Quanfu. He seems to have this unshakable belief in electric technology.
Yeah.
Even going so far as to call for a Chinese auto alliance, urging other Chinese automakers to band together and take on the rest of the world.
Now, that's a bold move.
It is.
Calling for a united front like that, it really shows how serious he is about challenging the established order of the automotive world.
It certainly sparked a lot of debate within the industry,
Yeah.
but it shines a light on the growing influence and ambition of Chinese automakers on the global stage.
So BYD is clearly a company to watch,
Definitely.
a company that's not afraid to shake things up and push boundaries.
Yeah.
But the big question remains.
Yeah.
Can they overcome the challenges, the controversies, the complexities of the global market to really become a powerhouse in the automotive industry?
It's going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out.
It's going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out.
It is, yeah.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, but before we wrap up, let's bring it back to you, the listener.
Yeah.
Why should all of this BYD's rise and their strategies matter to someone who might just be looking for their next car?
That's a great question, and I think the answer is bigger than just one company.
Okay.
BYD's success represents a potential power shift in the auto industry.
Mm-hmm.
For decades, it's been dominated by the same players,
Right.
mostly from Europe, the US, and Japan.
Right.
But here comes BYD, this Chinese company, disrupting the status quo with innovation and a relentless approach to expansion.
Right.
That's a big deal.
So it's not just about the cars themselves, but about what BYD's presence means for the future of the entire industry.
Exactly. More competition, especially from a company like BYD that's pushing technological boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
means more choice for consumers. It could mean lower prices,
Sure.
faster innovation, and potentially even a faster transition to sustainable transportation, which benefits everyone.
Right. It's like BYD is this case study in how quickly things can change and how innovation can come from unexpected places.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it goes to show that we're not just talking about cars here, but about the future of mobility.
Right.
How we get around in a world grappling with climate change and technological advancement. BYD's story is a peek into that future.
This deep dive has been eye-opening, to say the least. We've gone from BYD's beginnings in batteries to their ambitious global plans, uncovering their strategies, their wins, and the hurdles they are facing along the way.
It's clear that BYD isn't afraid to challenge conventions and push the boundaries of what's possible in the automotive world. Their vertically integrated model, their technological advancements, their sheer ambition, it's a potent combination.
And it all leads to some pretty big questions about what the future holds, not just for BYD, but for the entire automotive industry.
Here's something to ponder as you watch BYD's journey unfold.
Okay.
Could their approach, this combination of vertical integration and aggressive expansion, be the key to not just participating in the global electric vehicle market, but to dominating it?
Right.
And if so, what would that mean for the industry, for consumers, for the world?
It's a lot to consider, and it's a conversation we'll undoubtedly be revisiting as BYD's story continues to unfold. For now, thanks for joining us on this electrifying deep dive. Until next time, keep your minds open and your imaginations running on full charge.